Some things are right when they are right, and you just have to do it. That's what our next owner did when he made the choice to quit his military career and open up none other than his very own escape room. In Jacksonville, North Carolina, owner Brian Vinciguerra cracked the code to his happiness. So let's hear his incredible story on this episode of Find Your Escape. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. My name is Amanda Contreras. I am your host of Find Your Escape, and I'm here with Brian Vinciguerra from Jacksonville, North Carolina with Cracked It Escape Games. I'm saying it right? I want to say like cracked up or cracked something, but it's Cracked It. I love it because you're cracking the code. So thank you so much for being on the show. I'm super excited to talk to you. We kind of got off on a really fast start, and I'm so excited. So let's just keep that momentum going and jump right in. Tell me how you got into escape games, how you actually named your escape game, and a little bit about you and where you came from.
Okay, so my family and I were going to do an event in Charlotte, North Carolina. We were going to go to the Renaissance Fair, and we got stuck in Raleigh because a hurricane had come in and sat on top of the fairgrounds and washed out the event. And we typed into the Google machine, like everybody does around here, fun things to do in Raleigh, North Carolina. And a long list of things came up on TripAdvisor and other listings. But at the top of it was escape rooms in a place called Cypher Escape. And we were like, well, what's an escape room? We'd never heard of this concept before. So we went and did our first game. We were dressed in full Renaissance gear.
That's so great.
So we did our first room costumed up, and we really got enthralled by the concept. You know, we had a great time. We didn't pass the room because we were 6 people in a room built for 13 people.
Sure.
And we had no idea of the concept of what, all the different puzzles and all the different tactics you would use.
Right.
But it lit the spark for us. So at dinner that night, like most people, we really digested what we had just done and got super excited about it. So between my wife and my 2 daughters and I, we were all kind of thinking in parallel thoughts. We could probably bring this to our hometown of Jacksonville, which is a Marine base. There's not a lot to do here outside of tattoo parlors and adult establishments, adult entertainment establishments. So we wanted to bring a family activity here. And we, within a very, very short time, it was a lightning fuse. We went from having done our first escape room to having done a handful of escape rooms to deciding to open a business and then opening a business. So we did our first room up in October of 2015. We opened in January of 2016.
Okay, so super awesome. You're so worked like I do. I did my first escape room in the end of August 2015, and our doors were open in November. Yeah, but when it's there, it's just there. Like, you know it, you do it, and if you don't run with it, I tell everybody, if you have an idea, run with it. Just don't let anyone stop your momentum.
Yeah, I mean, you've really got to strike while the iron's hot. And we all had, the enthusiasm for it. And today, 3 years later, I'm still at it. I've faced a lot of adversity, and as you saw from the pictures of us facing down another hurricane. Now my oldest daughter, she's my manager for me. My youngest daughter, Allison, she works at an escape room in St. Louis. And but my wife and I, we dissolved the partnership both in the business and in the life sense, but we're still very good friends. The business is stressful, and it can add a lot of stress to a relationship. So that was a part of a casualty of the business. But at the same time, it was, it's been a great experience for all of us involved.
Right. That's good. That's really good. So you had mentioned before that you were ex-military, a Marine.
That's correct. Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps for 20 years. I joined out of high school, and I did 20 years as an infantryman. Did multiple. Unfortunately, at the time that I was in the Marine Corps, escape rooms didn't exist. So when I went out to all these foreign countries, I didn't get a chance to visit something like this. So a little bit different today, but I would do it so much. And I retired in 2008, and for about 6 years after I retired, I was a contractor. I worked for the Defense Department in various support mechanisms. I was a a simulations instructor. I taught Marines how to use improvised explosive devices, simulated ones, so for convoy operations. And then I got into scenario development, which is kind of in line with what I do today. Is I wrote an entire world, if you will, for Marines to operate in as they deployed to go or prepared to deploy to go overseas into the Mediterranean theater of operations. So
Wow, how fun was that?
it was a great job. I loved it for the 6.5 years that I had it. It's just at the time that I started my business and I was doing that, I was like many owners, I was keeping a full-time job as well as trying to run a business. And one of the two things had to give in way for me to be successful in the other. So I could either hang up my nascent business or I could, let the career go, which is what I chose to do. I felt I wasn't serving my Marines as well as I should. So I made the adult decision to go ahead and part ways with my company and and focus on my personal company to grow my business.
I think that's a hard choice too, because a lot of people, especially the people that we interview on the show, they picked a career, they want it, they go to school for it, and they have this idea, and then all of a sudden they play this wacky game where you're beating your head up trying to figure out a combination on the lock, and then you're like, oh my God, what did I just do to myself? And you just messed your whole world up. And the whole idea is, hey, you messed your world up for a reason. You have a calling, and go make this amazing room. And I think some people have a little bit of a hard time with it. If you're not an entrepreneur at heart, where you just go where the wind blows you and you do it. So I think it's really awesome, and it's really brave that a lot of people decide to say, you know what, I'm going to say goodbye to this and hello to this. So yeah, super awesome. So you guys, how many rooms did you guys start out with?
One. We opened with very quickly. We went from deciding to open our business in mid-November, and in 45 days we found a location, secured funding, designed a game, did our build out, and then opened to the public on January 7th of 2016. Now, a lot of people try to eat the elephant all in one bite. That it wasn't in the cards for us. I had a specific set amount of money that I could spend.
Yeah, you budgeted. Yeah.
When we opened, I started with $25,000, and that was to do everything. That was lock, stock, and barrel to get from idea to open.
Sure.
When we opened, I had $980 left in our operating account.
Hey, you're a good budgeter.
So we designed our first game. We called it AIR, In Search of Episode 1. It's a really long title, but it revolved around a secret society that we created called Antiquities, Investigations, and Recovery. And it was a generic, well, not generic, it was a Generation 1, for lack of a better term. That's the kind of the industry phrase that we throw around. It's locks and boxes, nothing super advanced, nothing super technical. We had one minor technical puzzle in it. It was just a store-bought RFID tag that you would swipe to open a door with.
Hey, you got to do whatever you got to do to get your doors open. That's it.
And it worked. It worked great.
Yep.
And it's a fan favorite. When we closed that room after almost 2 years, our fans were crushed. They were like, okay, so what are you going to do next? What are you bringing next? So shortly after that paid the bills for us for the first 3 months.
Excellent.
It paid my staff. I mean, I had a full-time job at the time. Yep. My wife at the time had a full-time job. So we were safe for income, and we let the business grow itself. So we were making money from day one.
Yep.
So actually not from day one, because I didn't have a single customer in the doors on the day that we opened.
That's all right. Your name was out there. Your name was out there. Your doors were open. That's what matters.
But our local newspaper had done a front page above the fold article about us.
Oh, how great is that? Okay.
Yeah, so that was the weekend kicked off pretty good.
Sure.
And the ball has never stopped rolling. We've made progress ever since.
So you started out with the one room, and that was in 2016. Have you guys built on from that? How many rooms do you guys have now?
We currently have 2 operating. We are building our 3rd room, and we're going to have it open later this month. So we at our max operating capacity, we have 3 rooms up and running at once. I shut down the room that we're rebuilding shortly before Christmas.
Is that the AIR?
That was Queen Anne's Revenge. That was our 2nd room that we'd opened. So the way we built our games is we did AIR first, and then 4 months later we opened Queen Anne's Revenge, which is our pirate-themed game. And then about a year later, took me a long time to build my third game because just finding the stuff that I wanted to do. Plus, I'd learned a lot about coding with Arduino and building props and things like that. So I taught myself all that, and I build all my own things. So it takes me a while to build a game. So we built.
And it's
DEF
all
CON
you,
1.
all you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I contract with coders to write the code for me, but the actual building of my structures, the building of my props, I do that all in-house in my location. So we built DEF CON 1.
Do you find out that your prop room? No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You find out that your prop room is like exploding into all the other rooms, and you're like, I need the bigger space.
I have a really large building. I have a 5,400 square foot building, so half of it is my workshop, and then the other half is the escape room business.
Got it. Oh, so you're lucky. Okay. Yeah, so we have our warehouse with our air conditioning company, and I'm like slowly but surely like taking over the entire backspace with all the prop building, so he loves it.
Yeah.
It's all right.
And and I actually have a storage area that I put all my, like, just to get it out of the way so that we're not tripping over it.
Sure.
I have a 10 by 20 storage area that I put stuff in.
Oh, well. That's good. That's good. So your rooms, how many people do you guys hold in your rooms? Family friendly, I'm assuming.
We built our first room, AIR, we built for 8 people. And after having it open for as long as we did, I just noticed trends that during the summertime, it gets really hot, it gets stuffy, it gets cramped. So when we reset that room, we set a hard limit on all of our rooms of 6 people. Just to make sure that everybody is comfortable. We want everybody to have an enjoyable experience. From time to time, we'll have people that want to put more people in the room. And we always, caution them that, hey, we build these rooms for this amount of people. The rooms are 12 by 13 square. And if you want to put extra people in there, we don't advise you to do that, but I'm not going to tell you no. But we also caution you with these things. So.
Okay, so your rooms that you have now, including the one that's going to open, what's the first one? And tell me what it's about.
We have Mods Madness. We call it Scooby-Doo Spooky. All of our rooms are child appropriate. There's no gore, no blood, no violence. I'm going to steal
that from you. Sorry. That's so cute. Scooby-Doo Spooky. That's so cute. Okay. I like that.
So when we if you look at our website, it says, caution, this room may have elements that are not suitable for children under 13. And that's just because there's some startle scares and some noises and buzzes and things that just are startling. And it's kind of in a subdued light environment. That's Mods Madness. It's a haunted dollhouse game, and the mission of that, all of our games are mission based. So the mission for this one is Maud. She's the owner of this decrepit manor, and she's been ranting and raving while she was put in an asylum about unfinished business, that the dolls are coming to life. So the room is built around a haunted dollhouse.
How awesome is that? Okay.
And over the course of the game, they have to assemble a facsimile of Maud, who's going to oversee these dolls that are coming to life. So that's her unfinished business. Spoiler.
And then for 2 to 6 people, I'm assuming 2 to 6.
Correct. Okay. Yeah. And that's our most difficult room. It's got a success rate of about 44%, 45%.
Okay. Cool.
And then DEF CON 1 Red Alert. That's our 1980s Fallout Shelter game. All of our rooms are built with period authentic materials. So that's why it took me a year to build DEF CON, because there's a Cold War era, materials in there. There's a refrigerator that I had to get. There's, just things that are specific to from the 50s to the mid to late 80s. So there's nothing newer than that in the room.
That's so great. Yeah, that's awesome.
And the new game that we're building is New Blood, New World. It's a haunted ghost ship that revolves around the legend and lore of a vampire family.
But you guys are up and well. And what in the foreseeable future do you guys have planned? Do you guys have any plan besides your new room coming up? Do you guys want to expand? What's your any little tasty treats that we can, give people?
Yeah, we're so I just came back from the Trans World Haunt Show in St. Louis last
How was
week.
it? I didn't get a chance to go.
It was incredible.
Okay, good.
If you can make it an opportunity to go to it, I'd highly recommend it.
Okay.
If you can't go to that one, then the Room Escape Conference is a great starter conference to go to. Trans World has done a really good job of growing that particular conference itself, and so I'm going to be going to both this year.
Awesome.
And we'll see after San Antonio whether or not I decide to go to both next year.
Right.
But at a minimum, I will be going back to Trans World next year.
Oh, great.
So,
okay.
I I I am now part of or I'm a purchaser of a product called Z Tag, which is zombie tag. So if you think, and so it's outside of the escape room business. I wanted to find a second revenue stream that is not specifically escape rooms that I could take to offsites and conventions and just different things, birthday activities, take it out to a park.
Be mobile. Yeah.
Be mobile, yeah. Get off my site. Not for not to send people away, but to be able to bring things to the public. So this is if you think tag like you were a fifth grader minus touching, and if you think laser tag without weapons, it's kind of a new and exciting game. So I bought a system for 24 people. You divide your team into two groups: people that are infected, zombies, and then people that are non-infected, you're civilians. And then throughout the play area, you have stations that could be hospitals to revive your infected, or they could be resources. So if you want to play a capture the tag game, and then another person or persons in the game are doctors that can rescue your infected civilians. So
I am seriously, as you're talking, running this through my brain, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so awesome.
So everybody wears a radio transponder on their arm.
Okay.
And when you're within 3 feet of another person, if you're a zombie, you infect them with the virus. So it's by radio transmission, radio transponder. So it's never physically touching somebody. It's getting within basically their comfort zone.
Sure.
So we're going to get that material in August. We're going to roll that out in September, and we'll probably debut it countywide in October. At Oktoberfest, which is
we're definitely going to have you come back on the show live when you guys do one of those events, because that would be so awesome to show.
Yeah, so we're going to work that out from August through September, the mechanics of this new business revenue stream, because we've tried other things that just didn't work out. You hear a lot of talk about virtual reality in the escape room, which was a big focus of the Trans World Show. There was a lot of product for bringing virtual reality as a new business stream. Not my thing. We did try it. We tried to open a virtual reality arcade within my building, and it just wasn't income producing. Yeah. So we shelved that idea, and now we're looking for other things, as well as looking to bring scalable games. And it's kind of a trend in the industry now that people are always looking for how could I bring the escape room or puzzles and pints concept small scale, and then grow that into a large scale from 5 to 500 people. So there's lots of opportunities for that. And around my area, that nobody offers that. Nobody offers a thing to bring to your location and set something up and have a good interactive experience.
That's so great. On that note, I think we're super good with our interview. If people want to book your escape room, please tell me the phone number and the website they go to book your games.
Okay, people can reach me on the phone at area code 910-353-4434. That's our in-office number. When we're closed, it forwards to my cell phone. So I take calls after hours because you always want to be reached. Our website is crackeditnc.com, and all social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook is the same. We're just at crackeditnc on all platforms of social media.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. We will see you next week on another episode of Find Your Escape. Vince, we can say goodbye. So say goodbye to everybody. Bye, guys.
Bye. Have a great day.
Thank you.